Okay, so this is this week's coming Torah reading. October 12th, 2019. This is the public reading. The Torah, the prophets, the New Covenant, and the Psalm. The Torah reading is going to be Deuteronomy 32, verse 1 through 32, verse 52. The prophet reading is going to be Isaiah 4. The New Covenant reading is going to be Revelation 15. And the Psalm is going to be Psalm 23. So let's start with the Torah, this week's Parashah, Ha'azinu. All right. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth. May my teaching trickle like the dew, my words like rain showers on tender grass, and like spring showers on new growth. For I will proclaim the name of Yahweh, ascribe greatness to our God, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are just. He is a faithful God, and without injustice. Righteous and upright is he. They behave corruptly toward him. They are not his children. This is their flaw, a generation crooked and perverse. Like this do you treat Yahweh, foolish and unwise people? Has he not, your Father, created you? He made you, and he established you. Remember the old days, the years long past. Ask your father, and he will inform you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High apportioned the nations, at his dividing up of the sons of humankind, he fixed the boundaries of the peoples, according to the number of the sons of God. For Yahweh's portion was his people, Jacob the share of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, and in a howling desert wasteland. He encircled him, he cared for him, he protected him like the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up its nests, hovers over its young, spreads out its wings, takes them, carries them on its pinions, so Yahweh alone guided him. And there was no foreign god accompanying him. And he set him on the high places of the land, and he fed him the crops of the field, and he nursed him with honey from crags, and with oil from flinty rock, with curds from the herd, and with milk from the flock, with the fat of young rams, and rams, the offspring of Bashan, and with goats, along with the finest kernels of wheat, and from the blood of grapes you drank fermented wine. And Jeshurun grew fat, and he kicked. You grew fat, you bloated, and you became obstinate, and he abandoned God his maker, and he scoffed at the rock of his salvation. They made him jealous with strange gods, with detestable things they provoked him. They sacrificed to the demons, not God. To gods whom they had not known, new gods who came from recent times, their ancestors had not known them. The rock who bore you, you neglected, and you forgot God, the one giving you birth. Then Yahweh saw, and he spurned them, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. So he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what will be their end, for they are a generation of perversity, children in whom there is no faithfulness. They annoyed me with what is not a god. They provoked me with their idols. So I will make them jealous with those not a people. With a foolish nation, I will provoke them. For a fire was kindled by my anger, and it burned up to the depths of Sheol, and it devoured the earth and its produce, and it set afire the foundation of the mountains. I will heap disasters upon them. My arrows I will spend on them. They will become weakened by famine and consumed by plague and bitter pestilence. And the teeth of wild animals I will send against them, with the poison of the creeping things in the dust. From outside her boundaries, the sword will make her childless, and from inside, terror, both for the young man and also the young woman, the infant along with the gray-headed man. I thought, I will wipe them out. I will make people forget they ever existed. If I had not feared a provocation of the enemy, lest their foes might misunderstand, lest they should say, our hand is triumphant, and Yahweh did not do all this. For they are a nation void of sense, and there is not any understanding in them. If only they were wise, they would understand this. They would discern for themselves their end. How could one chase 1,000, and two could chase a myriad to flee, if their rock had not sold them, and Yahweh had not given them up? For For the fact of the matter is, their rock is not like our rock, and our enemies recognize this. For their vine is from the vine of Sodom, and from the terraces of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of poison, their clusters are bitter, their wine is the poison of snakes, and the deadly poison of horned vipers. Is not this stored up with me, sealed in my treasuries? Vengeance belongs to me, and also recompense. For at the time their foot slips, because the day of their disaster is near, and fate comes quickly for them. For Yahweh will judge on behalf of his people, and concerning his servants. He will change his mind when he sees that their power has disappeared, and there is no one left confined or free. And he will say, where are their gods? Their rock, in whom they took refuge, who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their libations. Let them rise up, and let them help you. Let them be to you a refuge. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is not a God besides me. I put to death, and I give life. I wound, and I heal. There is not one who delivers from my hand. For indeed, I lift up my hand to heaven, and I promise as I live forever, when I sharpen my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold of it in judgment, I will take reprisals against my foes, and my haters I will repay. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh with the blood of the slain, and captives from the heads of the leaders of the enemy. Call for songs of joy, O nations, concerning his people. For the blood of his servants he will avenge, and he will take reprisals against his foes, and he will make atonement for his land, his people. And Moses came, and he spoke all the words of this song in the ears of the people, that is, he and Joshua the son of Nun. And when Moses finished speaking all these words to all Israel, then he said to them, take to heart all the words that I am admonishing against you today, concerning which you should instruct them with respect to your children, so that they will observe diligently all the words of this Torah. For it's not a trifling matter among you, but it is your life. And through this word, you will live long in the land that you are about to cross the Jordan to get there, to take possession of it. And Yahweh said to Moses on exactly this day, saying, go up to this mountain of the Avirim range, Mount Nebo, which is opposite Jericho, and see the land of Canaan that I am giving to the Israelites as a possession. You shall die on that mountain that you are about to go up there, and you will be gathered to your people, just as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor, and he was gathered to his people. Because of the fact that you broke faith with me in the midst of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the desert of Zin, because you did not treat me as holy in the midst of the Israelites. Yes, from afar you may view the land, but there you shall not enter there. That is, into the land that I am giving to the Israelites. Okay? That was the Torah reading. That was Deuteronomy 32:1 through 32:52. And the prophet reading is Isaiah 4. And 7 women shall grasp at one day, and 7 women shall grasp at one man on that day, saying, we will eat our own bread, and we will wear our own clothing. Only let us be called by your name. Take away our disgrace. On that day, the branch of Yahweh shall become beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the land shall become the pride and glory of the survivors of Israel. And this shall happen. He who is left in Zion, and he who remains in Jerusalem will be called holy, everyone written for life in Jerusalem. When the Lord has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and cleansed the blood of Jerusalem from her midst, by a spirit of judgment and by a spirit of burning. Then Yahweh will create over all of the site of Mount Zion, and over her assembly, a cloud by day, and smoke, and the brightness of flaming fire by night. Indeed, over all the glory there will be a canopy, and it will be a shelter for shade from the heat by day, and a refuge and a hiding place from rainstorm and from rain. Okay? Very short reading. The New Covenant reading is Revelation 15. And I saw another great and marvelous sign in heaven, 7 angels having 7 plagues that are the last ones, because with them the wrath of God is completed. And I saw something like a sea of glass, mixed with fire. And those who had conquered the beast in his image and the number of his name were standing by the glassy sea, holding harps from God. And they were singing the song of Moses, the slave of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and marvelous are your works, Lord God, all powerful, righteous and true are your ways, King of the ages. Who would never fear, Lord, and glorify your name? For only you are holy, because all the nations will come and worship before you, because your righteous deeds have been revealed." And after these things I looked, and the temple, the tent of the testimony in heaven, was opened. And the 7 angels who had the 7 plagues came out from the temple, dressed in clean, bright linen garments, and girded with golden belts around their chests. And one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of the wrath of God, who lives forever and ever. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power. And no one was able to enter into the temple until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were completed. Okay? And the Psalm 23. Yahweh is my shepherd. I will not lack for anything. In grassy pastures he makes me lie down. By quiet waters he leads me. He restores my life. He leads me in correct paths for the sake of his name. Even when I walk in a dark valley, I fear no evil, because you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare before me a table in the presence of my oppressors. You anoint my head with oil. My cup is overflowing. Surely goodness and loyal love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will stay in the house of Yahweh forever, or for a very long time. Okay. Thank you. Bless you guys.